He's a formidable indoor exponent, Kip Tanui. Number 3 all-time indoors at this distance with 7:35. That was 5 years ago. He's still only 29, Moses Kip Tanui. Remember, he lifted the first of his world steeplechase titles back in 1991. He went on to win them again in 93 and 95 outdoors. Wearing 23 there, Kent Claesson of Sweden. Toughest competition, though, will undoubtedly come from the man wearing number 27. That is Ali Assief, the 21-year-old Algerian who ran 3:30 last summer for 1,500 meters. Gennaro di Napoli, also in very good form. He's run 7:47 this winter. He's in the lineup too, Gianni Di Napoli. Spent the entire season last year out injured. No performances at all from Di Napoli in 1999. But he does have a personal best indoors of 7:41, Gianni Di Napoli, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes in this one. Well, there was a time when Moses Kip Tanui could attack world records, but they've been moved away from his ability now, certainly on the flat. Maybe he still has the potential to get the world record in the steeplechase, but the world record for 3,000 indoors is an astonishing 7:24.9 by, of course, Haile Gebrselassie. That was set at Budapest a couple of years ago. Now the Swedes, how they love their indoor running and how they love their middle distance running. 28.99 at 200 meters. That's a little on the quick side. You can see Kip Tanui is about 6 or 7 meters down in 3rd place. He's probably gone through in around 30, just outside 30 seconds. Assief, that is in blue, just in front of Kip Tanui. Saw very little of him on the circuit last year. Hasn't even got the sort of features that you might have seen very much on Eurosport through the Summer Grand Prix months. I'm not sure I'd recognise him, but was just quietly becoming a very, very high caliber runner, the 7th fastest in the world, in fact, last summer. I suppose, really, his disappointing performance in Seville was what maintained his relative anonymity, if you can say that of anybody that's run 3:30. He was a semi-finalist at the World Championships last summer. That was a little disappointing. But he's got real strength, too, as Assief. He ran 7:36 for 3,000 meters. 1:30 at 600. Well, they're moving along very crisply indeed. I can only imagine that this has been laid down, this pace, for Assief, because he's the man in 2nd place, comfortably tucked in behind the pacemaker. Now, Kaczek Bergqvist in great form in the high jump already this winter, the 23-year-old. Cleared 2 meters in Greece just 2 days ago. Oof, that's a lovely clearance. 187, however, that is, so no wonder she looked easy. This group of 5 being towed round. It's Assief in 2nd, Kip Tanui in 3rd, Gennaro Di Napoli in 4th. Has a lovely language style, does Di Napoli in the yellow there. Pacemaker is Moses Keegan. Di Napoli, on his day, one of the quickest finishers around, a 1:40 meter man. He's run 13:17 for 5,000. He's got a formidable range, but has just lacked the championship temperament, certainly in major outdoor championships perhaps, to make him one of the all-time greats. He's run 3:32 for 1,500 meters, so on paper would have the beating of the likes of Kip Tanui, but so often these middle and long distance races nowadays are run at absolute optimum speed from the gun, and it really doesn't leave a great deal of room for the tacticians to weave their web, if you like, to use their skills. They just have to hope they can hang on from the gun, and it's a daunting task, particularly in races that are run with pacemakers like this one. They've got through 1,200 meters in around 3:03, so it's slowed fairly significantly. Keegan beginning to look a little tired. They're beginning to bunch behind him a little bit. Don't worry about that caption. I don't think that related to these guys. Assief looking very, very easy. In fact, I think just gave Keegan a little shove in the back there to say, come on, push it along. If you're going to do this job out in front, do it well. He's done pretty well so far, but the pace has been slackening. They're coming up now towards 8 laps gone. They were knocking out 30s at one point. You can see the clock for yourself. They're way outside that now. Goodness me, 4:6:47. Yes, no wonder Assief gave him a little nudge in the back. They've just run 62, or 63 in fact, for that last 400 metre segment. That's pedestrian by the standards of these men, and that's why Gleisen at the rear of this quintet and Di Napoli in 4th place are still hanging in there. Now if he picks it up, we'll see the gaps open. Gianni Di Napoli racing himself into shape. This will be an important confidence boost for him if he can produce a quick time tonight as those European indoors approach. John Mayok, of course, racing later on in the 1500 metres at this meeting, has been in great form. He'll be defending his title in Ghent next week. Don't forget, we will, of course, have those European Indoor Championships here on Eurosport. We'll be covering every move live, as per usual, at the major championships. And remember, just 2 days, or 3 days after this meeting, is the Rico Tour final, the CGU Grand Prix at Birmingham's National Indoor Arena. That promises to be a really fabulous meeting. Now the gaps are beginning to open. Keegan's gone. Assief in the lead. Kip Tanui out in front. Now will Assief wind it up from here despite the fact that the pace has been slackening? Or will he let Kip Tanui come round him? Beautiful looking run to Assief. When you get a close-up shot of him, just take a look. He's really up on his toes. He bounces along. I wouldn't imagine his heels hardly touch the ground. He looks very fresh. Kip Tanui too has always been one of the most smooth of movers. Very fluent, incredibly light on his feet. Somebody said to me the other day, Moses Kip Tanui is so thin that when he turns sideways he's a missing person. He is one of the thinnest athletes I've seen. The torso of Kip Tanui, there's not an ounce of fat on it. And the power to weight ratio, like so many of the Kenyans, absolutely staggering. Being dragged along now though. 3 laps to go, 6:11.02 at 2,400 metres. The pace has slackened somewhat. That's a shame because it set off so promisingly, but the gap back to Di Napoli now probably some 50 or 60 metres. Kip Tanui, of course, the man who, as a junior, won the world title at 1,500 metres. Then when he was still 19, of course, took that first world steeplechase title in Tokyo way back in 1991. What a sauna that Olympic Stadium was in the Japanese capital. But of course, he's as much a coach nowadays, we understand, as he is an athlete himself to so many of the youngsters in the Kenyan squad that his manager, Kim McDonald, looks after. They have a big training camp in Kenya. I think he's a mentor too, as much as a coach. I think Kim McDonald writes the majority of the schedules. But they come round now towards the bell, and Assief has been winding it up for the last 150 metres, and the gap has grown, 2,807.12. The time is going to be quick, but Assief really does look fresh. He's just looking around him, glancing down at his feet, just pumping this out, as if to say, this is all well within my capabilities. No strain there on the features, and yet he's opened up 10 metres on Kip Tanui in the last 200. Comes round the final bend and into the straight, and the gap is still opening. His really deceptive mover, 7:40.39. Kip Tanui, a couple of seconds down on that. Very, very good running indeed by Assief, goodness me. And of course, this man, a 1,500 metre specialist, will have been putting in a lot of strength work over the last few weeks. Really, I suppose, 3,000 metres, the ideal distance for him at this time of year, just to test the